Some of you may not know this, but Padre Pio strongly encouraged Catholics to vote. He himself voted and expected others to do the same. Today's story follows a former socialist whom Padre Pio reprimanded for choosing not to vote. Stay tuned. Welcome to Following Padre Pio. We're grateful to all those who quietly helped this apostolate continue reaching souls through Padre Pio's spiritual legacy. Today's story may touch your heart in ways you do not expect. Today's story comes from a book I hold very dear, Stories of Padre Pio by Madame Caterina Tangari. She recounts a remarkable conversation she once had on a train. She was returning home from San Giovanni Rotondo after Padre Pio's 50th priestly anniversary, and in her compartment she met a man who shared his journey from socialist idealism to the heart of the church. Listen to this. The man told Madame Tangari that he had once been a socialist, not because he was seeking power, status, or an easy life, but because he sincerely believed in it. What troubled him deeply was the suffering he saw around him, people who lacked even the bare necessities, while others possessed far more than they needed. The injustice of it all weighed on him, especially because it always seemed to fall hardest on the poor. At the time, he believed socialism offered a solution. Years later, he began hearing about Padre Pio, and to his own surprise, he felt drawn to him. He wanted to meet him, to explain his political views. But he hesitated for a long time. He knew Padre Pio was, above all, a confessor, and that confession was not the place for political discussion. On top of that, socialism had slowly drawn him away from any religious practice, and the idea of making a confession again was difficult. But eventually, his desire to meet Padre Pio became too strong to ignore. When he finally made his first confession to Padre Pio, only a few words were exchanged. "Padre Pio, I'm a socialist, but out of pure idealism." "Beautiful idealism you have," Padre Pio answered with dry irony. The man told Madame Tangari that he had a whole speech prepared. He was ready to lay out all his reasons. But in that instant, something happened within him. He suddenly understood, without argument, without discussion, that his so-called idealism was false. And if the ideal itself was false, then the reasons supporting it were also false. Still kneeling there, he said only, "But now I no longer think so." The absolution he received, he said, was like a new light leading to a new life. Returning home to Palermo, he faced a hard road. As you can imagine, separating himself from his old friends and political companions was not at all easy. Sometime later, after political elections had taken place, he returned to Padre Pio for another confession. By then, he was convinced that neither socialism nor any other materialistic system could truly resolve human misery or the suffering of the poor. He had also come to understand that religion, the strength and support of countless souls, cannot be removed from human life. When religious freedom is taken away, it is always the poor, and especially the very poorest, who suffer the most. During that confession, he told Padre Pio, I imagine with a bit of pride, that this time he had not voted for socialism. "For whom did you vote?" Padre Pio asked. "For nobody," he replied. "I couldn't vote for socialism, but I also couldn't bring myself to vote for my former adversaries. So I didn't vote at all." Padre Pio answered firmly, "Then you can look for absolution elsewhere." And he sent him without giving absolution. This response shocked him. He did not see it coming. It plunged him into what he called a serious crisis of conscience. It took him some time to understand that Padre Pio was right. He came to understand that When political forces act against the faith, namely closing churches and restricting man's spiritual freedom, a Catholic cannot simply stand aside. To remain indifferent is to fall in the duty of defending the faith. Vigilance is required. Before long, he felt a strong inner call to return to San Giovanni Rotondo. At first, he tried to resist it, but the call only grew stronger. As soon as he could, he went back, and that next confession, he said, was unforgettable. Padre Pio welcomed him like a true father. Every shadow between them was gone. He concluded his testimony by saying that, whenever he could, he returned to San Giovanni Rotondo, because no one ever goes to Padre Pio in vain. Everything there, he said, has meaning. Everything becomes a lesson. And with that, our story concludes. Thank you for spending this time with us today. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and continue journeying with us through the spiritual legacy of Padre Pio. And if you feel called to become part of our prayer family as a protected child of Padre Pio, you'll find the link below. May Our Lady and Padre Pio bless you.